G'day. Trina and I thought we might have a bit of a yarn this afternoon about the issues that were discussed at yesterday's council meeting and give the community an opportunity to see what the council deliberated on yesterday, and probably one of the most important issues, and obviously the one that promoted the most controversy within the community, was the notice of motion pertaining to both the airstrip and the evacuation centre in Turbot. Look, this issue came about because of a perception within council that we needed to know more about what the issues that were involved in this process were, and one of the main concerns that had emerged during the first 3 months of our term here was the fact that there was a lot of information that wasn't available to the present council, and to in some way endeavour to bring that to the fore, a notice of motion was presented, and look, what it did was certainly galvanise the community into action. It also galvanised the organisation into action to ensure that we had a better understanding of the issues involved. And a couple of the issues that came to light was there's a concern about CASA's requirements for the airstrip, and the fact that we as a council didn't want to proceed down that path unless all those issues were addressed, because we didn't want to end up with a facility that didn't meet the requirements. But both Hansy and Trina had concerns about the exercise, and as such they put in a notice of motion, and I'll let Trina make a few comments on that.
Look, I think what's really important for people to understand is that we are a new council. We have 6 new members and 3 previous councillors, and the new members are struggling at times to fully understand what some of the decisions, or how some of those decisions, and particularly ones that come with an enormous price tag, not just for the construction but for the ongoing. And so last year, when the special rate variation meetings were held and we went from 24.7% up to nearly 38%, it came to light that 2 projects had been accepted afterwards, and even prior to the elections, many of the candidates had raised those. So when elected, we endeavoured to find out as much as we possibly could, and we just didn't seem to be getting the details. So Councillor Armour and I did decide to put in a notice of motion. We do apologise for any great distress and angst that it created. That was not the intent. Our intent was for us to understand fully what the financial implications of 2 massive projects were going to be, and in particular with the evacuation centre was the location, and unfortunately it was only after we had put the notice of motion in that we were given the opportunity to have a briefing with the project manager, and even that still has some concerns for us, but we're now working through with it, and we want to see it work, but we also want the community to understand the implications and those financial implications that are going to be going forward. But as I said, Councillor Armour and I certainly had no intent for the distress that it was created. We apologise for that, but we also understand that part of our role is that our council...
The question.
Our council needs to be fiscally viable.
And look, we're here to represent the community's best interest. Also, we're here to represent the impact of all these capital projects on the bottom line of the organisation, and particularly the effect it has on the rate base.
And now, that's where the SRV comes in,
right,
and the integrated planning and reporting, Chaff.
That's right, and that's where we've got to have people contribute. You know, what's being proposed here is a special rate variation of 38%. The council at this point in time is prepared to look at a rate variation in the upcoming financial year. We would look at that from the point of view of giving us time to better look at the organisation and identify where efficiencies can be made, and the way we can go about our business better to achieve better outcomes for the community.
And we've got the IP&R hitting the road.
That's right. The week after next, there's a lot of pop-up meetings across the various towns and communities in the Snowy Valleys Council area, and we've got Batlow on Tuesday the 5th of April at 10 a.m. That's meeting in the RSL club, and Trina, you might identify the others there.
Look, Tumbarumba is actually Tuesday, April the 5th as well. That's at 6 o'clock on that Tuesday night at the high school hall. And then the following, on the Thursday, the 7th of April, is at Montreal Community Theatre in Tumut, and that's at 6 p.m.
It's a great opportunity, isn't it, Trina,
it
for
is,
people to contribute. You know?
But people, you need to come along and you need to actually hear some information, share some information, and talk to us about the things that are concerning you. Have a look at the documents. It's all available online. Yesterday at the council meeting, it was actually put that it go out for public exhibition for the 28 days. And that's you. That is the public. You need to have your input. You need to read the documents and to understand. I think all of us are available if anyone wants to discuss them.
You need to get, if you've got an issue that you want to discuss, feel free to contact any councillor about the issue. Look, I won't be beating around in the bush here. They're hefty tomes, there's a lot of information in there, but at the end of the day, they will gauge or set the way forward for the council, certainly for the next 12 months and into the future. And look, it's your future. This is your community. We would like this council to be very representative of how you people think. And look, you're not going to get your way all the time, but we're certainly out there prepared to listen. You know, let's not gild the lily. This is, you know, we're in a fairly parlous situation as far as finance is concerned. That's something that we're going to have to address over time, and we would like to engage with you people to have your opinions on the way forward. So.
You know, Chaff, but what we mentioned there is the three main, I suppose, sessions that are going to be held in Tumbarumba, Batlow and Tumut. But there are also pop-ups in lots of the other communities. There's online, there are opportunities to do surveys. We really want as many people as the public as possible. That's why it's called public exhibition. You need to be the ones who are actually helping us to determine what you want for the future, and you need to do that by understanding the decisions that you're asking us to make. We want to be guided by you. We don't want to. We don't want to impose.
We don't want to dictate to you.
No.
We want to listen to what you people feel about the way forward. Look, there's one other issue that came up.
Transgrid.
That's right. During the course of the meeting, and that's the Transgrid and the HumeLink situation, the impact on the communities that it will go through in the future. Whether that goes on private land, you've got to look at the impact on the visual aspect, you've got to look at the impact on the environment, and you've got to look at the impact of the amenity on people's amenity, because these are massive structures. However, we've got to also realise that these communities, our whole community, won't function without electricity. So how do we best reticulate it? How do we address these problems? The council put a series of resolutions at the meeting, and we're going to pursue those with the appropriate ministers to see if we can get some engagement. Now, it appears from a meeting we had last week with Transgrid that they're prepared to be a bit more engaging. And I think that it's important that we continue that process to make sure that we get the appropriate outcomes that best suit our environment, our community, and make sure that the urban dwellers who stand to benefit most realise that the impact is significant in the rural communities in getting electricity to them.
I think sometimes, though, even in our communities, Chaff, is that people tend to think if it's not going through their property, it's not going to impact. It is. This issue has a significant impact on our entire region, and that's why, again, people need to be informed. It's easy to stand back and criticise if you don't fully understand what's going on, and there's information there. There are people willing to talk to you, so please take the time.
Engage.
Support.
Get into it. You know, really find out what's going on, the impact that it's going to have across the whole region. And look, if anything, we need to act as a community, not in individual groups, but collectively. You know, what are the issues that affect our shire, our local government area? And once we get that community spirit going, we will stand a better future. We'll also be able to better enunciate the way we see this community. And look, it's all about you people.
Thank you.